What distinguishes the Pure Land Dharma method? As ordinary beings, we are not yet free from the cycle of birth and death. So there is nobody who is completely good. It is impossible to be entirely good. If you were to find someone like that, it must be in a special place or in special circumstances. For example, when you come to Lingyen Mountain Temple, how is it possible for you to kill? It is impossible. This is a pure and good place. Of course, you cannot say that we do not kill at all, because we still need to walk around. There are insects everywhere, and it is easy to kill them when we move around. But this killing is not intentional. Even though it is unavoidable, we have still harmed their lives. The law of cause and effect works in skillful ways. If you unintentionally harm them, they will unintentionally harm you in the future. This is the retribution from the karma of killing. If you intentionally kill, then you not only need to repay their life, but you will also undergo retribution for the negative karma created. If you unintentionally did harm, you will not fall into the hells, because your actions did not originate from a mind of hatred toward them. If an action is received naturally, the effects will be endured naturally as well. This is how the law of cause and effect works. As ordinary people, it is impossible for us to not create negative karma. It is unavoidable. That is why we need to recite the Buddha's name to be reborn in the Western Pure Land. Only the Pure Land Dharma method allows us to be reborn along with our residual karma. Be careful when interpreting what this means. Your virtuous karma must outweigh your negative karma in order for you to take your negative karma along with you. If your virtuous karma does not outweigh your negative karma, then you cannot be reborn along with your negative karma. It is just like a tug of war. The side that is stronger will win. How can you win the tug of war with little strength? Even though people do bad things, they are not completely bad. There is still good in them. But because their wholesome karma is weak, their negative karma pulls them into the 3 lower realms. It is just like when creditors come to collect the debts they are owed. The strongest one will come and receive their payment first. As Buddhist disciples, we cannot help it if we have mistakenly created negative karma in the past. But now, we should bring forth a tremendous sense of remorse, painstakingly repent and reform, and recite the Buddha's name with all of our heart, so that the strength of our vigorous practice will overcome our negative karma of the past. Relying on the compassionate strength of Amitabha Buddha, we can be reborn in the Pure Land along with our residual karma. What happens to our residual karma when we get there? We will be reborn in a lotus bud. What will we do in the lotus bud? We will reduce our karmic obstacles while nurturing our virtuous roots. We will rely entirely on Amitabha Buddha's myriad virtues to eliminate our karmic obstacles. Being reborn along with our residual karma is a concept only found in the Buddha's teachings on the Pure Land method. It is impossible to do so by practicing other methods. Other methods absolutely require us to put an end to all unwholesome deeds and practice all kinds of virtuous deeds. We would need to eliminate our negative karma and fulfill our practice of virtuous karma in order to have the hope to be freed from the cycle of birth and death and realize Buddhahood. These are the principles and specifics of cause and effect as explained in the Buddha Dharma, clearly and systematically, without any ambiguity. The Buddha Dharma teaches us to have faith that is based on wisdom, not superstitious faith that is filled with confusion. One part of the cause brings one part of the effect. This is not only stated in the Buddhist teachings, this applies to everything in the world. Everything in the 10 Dharma realms is within the scope of cause and effect. Has anyone ever told you this before? Have you heard of these teachings before? What a pity it is that you have not heard of these teachings before. We should listen to the Buddha Dharma more often. Why are we able to be reborn along with our residual karma? Can we explain this using an example? Of course. Analogies are often used to explain the elements of Buddhism that are difficult to understand. For example, if there is a rock that needs to be carried across the sea, even if it is only the size of your little finger, if you do not put it onto a boat, it will sink as soon as it enters the water. That is not only the case for a rock the size of a finger. Even a small pebble that is the size of a needlepoint will certainly sink when it is placed into the water. If there is a large boat that can carry hundreds, thousands, even tens of thousands of tons, and we place a 10,000-ton rock onto the boat, with the help of the boat, won't it be able to arrive at the other shore? It is simple as that. What is so difficult about the Buddha Dharma? It is not difficult at all. Before you come to understand it, you may think that it is difficult. Once you understand it, it is not difficult at all. A tiny grain of sand will sink as soon as it is placed in the water. A rock that weighs thousands of tons will reach the other shore as long as you place it into a strong boat. That is why we need to recite the Buddha's name. Great Master Wu Yi said, "As you are living in the world of the 5 turbidities, if you do not recite the Buddha's name, yet you want to cross the turbulent sea of suffering, you will never reach the other shore. You need to rely on the compassionate vessel in the sea of suffering, the compassionate vessel that is adorned by the myriad virtues of Amitabha Buddha. Every evening we recite the grand transference of merits, in which we dedicate our merits toward rebirth in the Western Pure Land. Since you have come to the monastery, we have many expedient means to help you all embark on the great compassionate vessel of Amitabha Buddha. I wish that you will all accomplish your practice and definitely be reborn in the Western Pure Land in this lifetime. I wish that everyone will be reborn in the Western Pure Land together.